But you know, there are folks out there who love movies who are saying something like this. Look, in the new media, clearly the writers deserve a piece of the action. That's perfectly reasonable. But why now? I mean, this is just the beginning of the digital age. Why not wait for 3 years and then make the demands?
Because I think writers are hip to the fact, as a lot of people are in the world, that there's no such thing as ages anymore. There's years. We're into the digital year, and next year it's going to be a new platform, and 3 years from now we may be negotiating over 5 new platforms. That the fracturing of technology is happening so fast that if we don't make a stand here for this technology, we're going to be behind the 8 ball when the next technology comes along. And these things are happening logarithmically faster and faster and faster.
The rate of change is changing, and so this is the battleground for this issue. The question is, do the writers have the conviction and the wherewithal to stand in the trench long enough to fight the battle? Can they say, for example, it's essentially a television strike right now, can they say, we're going to wait all the way till the summer, so you're going to have to suffer through the upfronts and not get this advertising money and maybe risk losing it forever?
Right.
Do they have the courage and the bullets?
Well, time will tell. I can tell you what personally I've experienced. I'm on the negotiating committee. I went to a meeting of 3,000 writers downtown at the convention center. There were open mics in the audience. We on the negotiating committee and we on the board sat on a dais and let writers express their feelings about what we were about to do. The mics were open for 2.5 hours. Not one person spoke against the strike. The most common emotion expressed was, why aren't we striking now? Why do we have to wait till Monday? That's a metric. How long that will last, I can't say. I do know that in 1988, there was already a vocal minority within the Guild against the strike, against going out over the issues that were on the table in those days. And those people undermined the strike from the beginning and were part of the reason it had an unhappy outcome. And those people don't exist this time. At least they haven't shown up yet.
But will they exist when they stop paying the house
may.
payments, or their people have to be unemployed? I mean, how much pain can they take and still stay in the trench?
You know, I think everybody who's involved with this strike feels the pain and the confusion that must be going through the minds of young writers who are just starting out and maybe just getting their breaks and just getting their careers rolling, and all of a sudden there's a work stoppage. All I can say to comfort them is, writers did this for you in the past, so you have a pension fund and a health plan. This is your time to sacrifice, as painful as that sound. And if you don't sacrifice this time, they may start coming after the other stuff. The other side pays you pensions, pays you health contributions, but they don't have to.
Oh, what's difficult is that the union is a complex one. The sociology of the Writers Guild consists of people who may be making $200 million over the course of 5 years, walking right next to someone who's basically broke. That's an odd configuration.
Well, there's one thing to keep in mind, though. These contracts that come up every 3 years, they're not for the most successful writers. The most successful writers negotiate overscale any deal they want.
That's right.
The contract is for the least successful writers, the writers who need the protection of that minimum contract the most. And successful writers are willing to sacrifice for those other writers. There's no writer that wants to be on strike.
Yeah.
We didn't ask for this strike. We feel this strike was thrust upon us, and we'd like to settle it as fast as we can.
You know, without being disingenuous, I think that you may present that as a case, but one says both sides are equal abusers to the situation. Both sides had some opportunity to move this thing forward. And there was a moment in time just before the strike deadline where it seemed like the two sides were coming together, and that maybe the writers are equally at fault and imprudent in saying they could have made a move and could have solved the strike.
You know, you can argue that. I was in the room at the Sofitel Hotel on Sunday, and I saw what was going on, and I saw us give up 50% of our main issues to make a deal. We gave up DVDs. We gave it up to make a deal on the internet, and we were hoping that would induce the other side to responding on the internet issues, and it didn't. It didn't.
Well, it's a pain that felt by a lot of people and will be felt a lot more. And hopefully, What Happens Next, the title of your book, will have a happy ending in this strike.
I do hope so.